Hi there, my name is Schwisow. This is my e-portfolio video for completion of the comprehensive exam for our BLPP. In beginning, I wanted to at least just start off with some of the personal information about myself. When I'm looking at my professional goals, or even when I began this program, the main goal for me was to continue to develop my health and wellness program that we are now in our 10th year. I wanted to be able to have the ability to transition into an administrative role as part of that program, as well as our athletic administration team, and also become a stronger voice in our community. When I look at my personal goals, I look at the ability that I want to be able to raise my family in a loving and nurturing home and community where they'll be able to grow as people. Along with that, I feel thankful that the school district that I work in is one of those environments. As I look at my path for the next 2, 5, and 10 years, my 2 year goal is I see myself trying to complete a 5 year goal that we have for funding an 8,000 square foot wellness facility that we use with the district as well as the community. And my goal in the 5 year concept would be to take this newly acquired administrative degree and certification and transition into the role of a retiring athletic director in our district while also still continuing to oversee the wellness program. And in the 10 years, I see myself hopefully taking even further in regards to some text, some writings, and be able to try to continue to have a role as an administrator and a teacher and do both at the same time. And when I look through, I'm not going to go through my resume, but when I look through the activities for this program, probably the most rewarding for me was spending time in the elementary schools as a seventh, as I say here, as a 7th through 12th grade instructor. My knowledge and experience with the elementary school level is pretty limited. I don't think that that is a goal of mine, would be to be an administrative role at that level, but I also feel like it's vital to understand the daily routine as well as what that type of teacher or administrator goes through. So probably in this process, the most rewarding for me was the day that I spent observing. I spent one day observing one of our K through 2 buildings, as well as a third grade class at one of our K through 5 buildings. We have an interesting district with 3 elementary schools, one K through 5, another one K through 5, and then a K through 2 and a 2 through 5. Spending time in those buildings, not only just shadowing, but observing and spending time with the principal, I was able to, it's my building for shadow. The biggest thing for me that I took from this was what differences that administrator at that level deals with, but then also what is similar to what maybe a higher level administrator might deal with. I feel like at that level, probably one of the more enjoyable things is that the principal is such a figure of excitement and power to the younger student that the words of encouragement from the principal exceed that of what their teacher states. I think as students age, they start to almost view the administrator too much as an authoritative position. I guess you could compare that to maybe a police officer where you see them more as, well, I got to avoid them. I don't want to see them, rather than, okay, they are here to help me. So spending that time observing and just being in the elementary schools in general was very, very self-fulfilling. One documentation I have on here that was a lot of fun for me is spending time in the third grade classes, promoting our wellness program, as well as teaching those courses. And then also we developed a program with our high school students with a fitness promotion where our high school students were going in and working with the students. And you can feel free to go through and look through those later. When I look at my activities at the district level, probably the most rewarding for me over the 10 years I've been here is the ability to develop in-service presentations. And I run a unique program, like we call it strength and conditioning, but I really feel like it's health and wellness. And Shawnee Mission school districts, Caw Valley school districts, and as well as my own district has brought me in services um, to speak about how we do things from a foundational standpoint with intrinsic and extrinsic motivation with our students, as well as how we begin with the developmental phase of motor skills, even all the way back to the levels of kindergarten through first grade, and how we want to phase them through. Also sharing with them research and studies on how movement and those motor skills can help with the cognitive skills of a student. Um, so taking the time and being able to go out and one, not only be a face of our district, but then also to be put in that, I guess you could say, leadership role, really helps me self-reflect and help us grow as we work on developing our program. One of the major initiatives district-wide that I was able to become a part of was in our wellness committee. We developed a walk across Kansas program that we've done the last few years with major staff involvement as well as school involvement in regards to a health initiative. We developed a full survey program. I actually brought this in there because I wanted to show I think one of the weaknesses in our school district is when you look at this wellness interest survey, we had 153 people in the district fill this out, but only 11 of those were male. We are a very female driven district in teachers, but we do have our males, and it shows there that there is not really an interest in our male staff. So in the wellness initiative and the development that we're trying to do with our district, that's a major challenge for us. So district level, probably the two biggest programs besides doing in-service speaking is the Walk Across Kansas program that we have, a blood drive that we developed district-wide, but we ran it at the high school, and we coordinated with the Red Cross as well as with, I'm sorry, I had a fly come on me, as well as using our students to help promote this need for our students that are 18 and over, our staff, as well as our community. And then lastly, district level wide, as part of our summer program, we created a leadership program where we've begun working with Northwest Missouri State University in Maryville, Missouri, where our program serves as a basis for their college graduate assistants and interns to come in and work with our students as a high school level, and then the students that are there with me to go to their college level and work with them. I serve the purpose with several college students who get college credit through me, run the intern programs through Pittsburgh State, Northwest Missouri State, Emporia State, Washburn. Kansas University students come through and work with us in the summer, completing community hours and so forth, and leadership skills and leadership programs for internships. So being able to take that type of program and work with another collegiate program has been a great challenge to me, as well as if you look through these sheets, I don't have a lot of time to do that, but in developing some of the standards that we try to create for our students, as well as an application to the student. We are right now this year completing, and I'm working on a curriculum of higher learning for our students so that when they're done through that program, they can take some of the certifications such as USA Weightlifting, National Strength and Conditioning Association, and the Collegiate Strength Coaches Certification Association. So trying to have a written curriculum where I'm learning from them as much as they are learning from me. Lastly, on my activities is when I come to the high school level. And I feel like this is probably where I was able to be given more responsibilities. And I talk about that in my reflection, but a couple programs that the building, the administrator allowed me to take on was developing in our advisories. I developed an advisory setup with our students where it is a reward system, okay, that for the 45 minutes of the day that they are in student hall, I basically became the administrator and tacked to where our three active administrators could be doing their things and understand that that is what I was assigned to do for the day. So I was not only in charge of monitoring hallways, trafficking, keeping kids where they're going, and so forth. I also got to spend the time to pop into multiple classrooms every single day and try to work as being that administrator who is seen in the classrooms. So for the kids to see me and see active, that I was always out in the hallways, I think one, it deterred improper use of that time, but then it also allowed them to, know, hey, if they needed to see me for anything, they knew they could find me out in the hallways. So that was one of the major responsibilities that was given to me, along with developing a yearly meeting, I guess, with our community as well as our students and trying to let them understand further the needs of academic requirements for college level. We have a high number of students who are student athletes who have the desire to use collegiate sports to, um, you know, as a means for providing for college education as well as to help them in their studies. So I think in regards to me and my interest of trying to go into the athletic side of things, it was very rewarding for me to have the district allow me to take this time and connect that with the community. Um, District wide and building wide, and we were able to develop a nutrition booklet that we put together for the students and for the staff. This is actually in our lunchroom as well, and so we have the top 25 food choices, and these are posted in the weight room, posted in the cafeteria, posted in our teachers lounge. As just constant feedback. It's something that we worked on myself as well as some students. Um, and then probably lastly of my experiences was being involved in our interview committee, being involved in restructuring our interview questions for our candidates, being involved in the interview process for social studies, counselors, and so forth. So being able to be that active teacher that was involved in the interview process and the hiring process um, really allowed me to see the levels of thoughts and decision making that go into that by administration when you're not necessarily hiring the best candidate, you're hiring the best candidate for your environment, and so you only know that when you actually have a gauge of your environment. I know that we had a couple people who I know are phenomenal educators apply and interview, but they were not going to be a fit with what we already currently have. So it's a difficult process, but it's a great way to understand and get a better feel of your building. Um, I'd suggest in the free time I put in some things here, some videos here of a wellness program that we run in the summer for about 400 students. We got multiple information in here, so this part was a lead into the reflection was a very fulfilling part for me to reflect upon. Um, my activity forms and logs are posted for you to review with hours and activities at district level, elementary level, and secondary level. With time coming close here, I'd like to just real quickly just finalize with my philosophy and the reflection. I felt like in this process of why I'm doing this, why I did this program, why I wanted to fulfill this program is I love what I do. I love my teaching position, and I just wanted to become a constant lifelong learner. It'd been 9 years since I'd completed my first master's degree in health education and nutrition, and I was looking at opportunities for what I wanted to do next. And it was either psychology or it was building leadership. And I felt like in reviewing these skills for leadership, I was going to be able to bring in my interest in psychology, but also to become a better educator. I don't know if it's necessarily in a drive to become an administrator, but more in my drive to understand what an administrator does. And by understanding that, I think I can become a more productive teacher. And that I can also try to help our buildings by relieve some of the stress and the constant many hats that an educator wears. So when I look through and mainly on my conjecture part, I thought the question that hit most with me was, can can administration have too many responsibilities? And I meant that as a whole, not just the principal, but an administration have too many responsibilities. The same as a teacher. Sometimes teachers feel like, man, I'm on this committee, I gotta do this, and we wear so many hats, we don't do anything great. We just do everything average. And so my hopes is as going through this, I can see what I have and what my strengths are to then go to our administrator and try to relieve some of those duties, similar to what they allowed me to do with advisory these last few years. So on the last note, thank you for your time, and I appreciate the program, and I appreciate you letting me become involved. Thank you.